Hello and welcome to a new series on KMVT 15 called Age-Friendly Bay Area. My name is Scott McMullen. I am a co-founder and board member of a nonprofit called Villages of San Mateo County, whose mission is to serve older adults who want to live active and full lives in the communities and homes that they love. I will be hosting this series of monthly interviews in which we will explore the range of wonderful programs in the Greater Bay Area that serve older adults. In this first session, we will learn about the term age-friendly and what it means to be an age-friendly community. Here to tell us all about it is Diana Miller, the Seniors Agenda Project Manager for the Santa Clara County Department of Aging and Adult Services. As such, she oversees the Age-Friendly Initiative for Santa Clara County. Welcome to the show, Diana Miller.
Thank you for having me, Scott.
You're welcome, and thank you for being here. Diana, age-friendly can mean different things to different people. Can you tell us how the term age-friendly has come into common use recently and what it really means today?
Well, we had to credit the World Health Organization, who in 2010 came up with the global network of age-friendly communities as their response to the growing older adult population worldwide and also the growing urbanization that is across the world. And since then, it's grown to now having over 1,114 at last check on the website, cities, as well. Those are in 44 countries around the world. So
Fantastic.
It's growing quite a bit.
Yes, and the United States, of course, is playing a big part in creating age-friendly communities and cities. The World Health Organization started the process, I guess, of enrollment, registration to become age-friendly. But now in the U.S., most of the registrations seem to be through AARP. What does that mean? How did that transition occur?
So when we look at age-friendly, it's grown from a few years ago, there was about 200 cities, and now it's over 1,000. And the World Health Organization needed help. So they have national affiliates. So for the United States, it's AARP. So they're able to offer technical assistance. They have a lot of resources available. And currently there are about 600 age-friendly communities in the United States, and they're also now age-friendly states. And California is one of the 8 states that has taken on that designation.
Bravo, California. Now, Santa Clara County has obviously shown a strong commitment to the age-friendly movement, age-friendly concept. How many cities are actually becoming age-friendly in Santa Clara County, and how did that ball get rolling?
So, well, right now we have all 15 cities are designated age-friendly with the World Health Organization, as well as the county. And we were the first county to have all its cities designated. And we did that because most people look at their communities and they don't know what things the city's in charge of or what the county does. And so if we have everyone working together with a common goal and vision, then it really makes it easier to create age-friendly communities and improve what we have. So
yeah, so with Santa Clara County being one of the first in the Bay Area to really embrace the age-friendly concept, how did that get started and how did you get involved?
So the Board of Supervisors in 2011 had also the forethought to say we need to really start responding to this growing older adult population. And in fact, by 2030, 1 in 4 people in Santa Clara County will be over the age of 65. So this is something that we just really need to take a look at and really plan for in a really thoughtful way. So at that in 2011, they put some funds together to do an assessment. They brought the community together, so 60 organizations came up with a age-friendly action plan for 3 years. And I was hired because the organization said we need somebody to kind of keep us on track, right? So at that point, at the end of 3 years, we looked around what's next. And at that point, the World Health Organization, there are 8 domains that you look at through the age-friendly lens: housing, transportation, open space, which is the structures, as well as those things that are not as tangible, like communication, respect, social participation, civic engagement. We had those work groups already a part of our age-friendly activities. So this was the next step, is to get all 15 cities on board. So we did that, and that came to fruition in 2018.
So there's a process to becoming registered and age-friendly. Can you tell us how that works, and is it difficult for a city to become age-friendly?
So it's pretty easy on one thing because it's free, which elected officials like a lot. But what you need to do is have an assessment of some sort, including older adults, and also come up with some projects. It doesn't have to be a formal 3-year plan. And then you have to have a letter of support from the mayor. So they look at it as a 5-year cycle of continuous improvement. So you have your assessment, you have a 3-year plan of action, and then you do an evaluation. So some cities in the United States are on their second or are going on their third cycle of continuous improvement to become age-friendly, because we're always, trying to do better.
Love the concept. Can you give us an example of a city in Santa Clara County that's really got a very wonderful age-friendly program, or then delve into some of the specific project types that you like?
Well, I would give a shout out to Saratoga, which was the first city to become age-friendly. In fact, when I went to talk to them, they were already in the process. So great minds were thinking alike, but they were a step ahead. They've done some wonderful things, including a ride program. But when I look at kind of how we can become more age-friendly, a lot of elected officials are afraid that it's going to cost more money, more time of staff time. And what I say is there's 3 ways to kind of become more age-friendly. One is to create a program that might not already be there. 2 is to transform something that's kind of has an audience of another age group maybe. And 3rd is to expand. So for example, on creating, we have the RIDE program, which Saratoga started, which is reaching your destination easily, which is a volunteer driver program, but they also have some paid drivers now because they've been able to expand and get funding. And they are looking, it came through the partnership with the Board of Supervisors, who looked at the west side of Santa Clara County and said there's really not a lot of transportation options over there. And even though a lot of people might say people in Saratoga or Los Gatos might not need it, many older adults are kind of what we consider house rich but cash poor. So there is a need that might not be seen on the surface.
Right. So transportation is a very big deal, of course, for older adults and people with disabilities. And I think there's a rule that any community that has public transportation must have a paratransit transportation program as well. But as you're pointing out, if there isn't public transportation in an outlying city, then something else is needed. So all the wonderful public transportation programs aren't enough.
Right. So there has program has expanded, and now through a partnership with the county, we have applied and gotten Measure A funds to expand the RIDE program into San Jose. So coming this year, other zip codes will be able to use this, and it all becomes because of software and resources, and the county and nonprofits all working together. The second area is transforming. That doesn't cost as much money, but the example is in the city of San Jose. They have Happy Hollow Park and Zoo, and many people have been there over the years. And about 10 years ago, they totally remodeled it, and it's all ADA accessible. It's a lovely park now. So the 4th Thursday of the month, for the first hour before the park opens from 9 to 10, anybody 50 plus can come and enjoy the park for free. And you get to park for free, you get your admission for free, and then you get to stay as long as you want. But that first hour is dedicated to older adults. So there's hula hooping, watercolor classes, tours with the animals. You get to see them have their breakfast, And a lot of the animals there are getting kind of older too. So it's kind of interesting. I said they should have a geriatric tour. But so that's one great thing. And even then, it was the park staff, who's so used to taking, kind of looking at the park through the lens of a 3-year-old or an 8-year-old, they didn't even allow the rides to be open for the first few years. And now they said, oh, I think the older adults can handle the rides. And in fact, they're very popular now. So it's also kind of transforming how city staff think about older adults and what we can do. And then the third way that you can become more age-friendly is to expand a program or policy. So once we in Santa Clara County have commissions, voluntary commissions that people sit on, and there was a child care reimbursement. But the Senior Care Commission said, what about a family care? Because I'm taking care of a 90-year-old mother or an adult child who's a quadriplegic. What can we expand that to become just family care? So now that is the policy, and so that didn't take a lot. It took some effort from the clerk of the board to do some research and see what would be reimbursed, but it's great. And then another one is taking programs that don't get a lot of publicity or are great programs and expand it out into the community through our network. And so that is the Life File, which is life-saving instructions that go on your refrigerator. So when paramedics come, they have access to your information in a readily accessible way. You can put other information in the pouch, like a pulse form or something else. But what we also found when the emergency medical department, as well as the Santa Clara County Fire, were putting together this form, one thing when we looked through it as age-friendly that we were missing was dementia as a chronic disease that you would check, because that's really important. If somebody has dementia, that's good to know for paramedics and how they deal with the situation. So that's something else that we're expanding. We hope to put 20,000 plus life files out. Anyone can get them from the county. We distribute them at senior centers and resource fairs and Senior Safari. But they're also just, you can go on the county website and put in life file, and you can download the file, but you can also get a pouch.
Great. So you're targeting 20,000 distributed files.
Yeah.
How far along is it at this point?
Well, we're still counting. So I think we're about halfway there.
Fantastic.
So yeah, the pandemic put a little kind of hardship on us on getting there right away. Yeah.
Well, those are great examples of projects. Thanks for sharing those. Now, when a city is registered as age-friendly, and they've got their projects, and the letter has been sent in and signed by the mayor and everything, I suppose it's important that the city sort of adopt into their DNA this age-friendly mindset, so that everything they do and decisions they make is based on age-friendly concept.
Well, that's the hope, and I think one way of looking at how you can sustain it is you really need kind of a three-legged stool. You really need an elected official who's your champion. You need the county or the city to dedicate staff time to that. Somebody has to feel it's part of their responsibility. And you also need some older adult advocates. It could be either at the commission, like a senior commission, or it could be another kind of ad hoc group or task force of older adults that are kind of looking out and saying, hey, you could be friendlier. So those three things and it's also, as you know, it's kind of also in constant flux as staffing changes, elected officials change. So you always have to kind of continue to be aware how you can kind of keep those relationships going.
Great. Well, I want to say kudos to Santa Clara County and to you for your great overseeing of the age-friendly programs. The name Diana Miller is known beyond Santa Clara County, I can tell you that. I live and work in San Mateo County and serve on the Commission on Aging for San Mateo County, and your name is well known in that group. So we're glad that Santa Clara County got the ball rolling, and we can use you as a model to follow. So thank you very much. Many great things have happened in this country because of legislation. Everybody's aware, of course, of the Social Security Act of 1935. Not as many people are really aware of the Older Americans Act of 1965, and that allows a lot of money to flow down to the states and counties. Can you tell us the importance of that federal funding?
Well, I think a lot of the Older Americans Act money is getting more spotlight, and in fact, there's getting more increase at the federal level. At least that's what some of it's being increased, and that's some of what we're hoping for because of the pandemic and the big need, and especially around senior nutrition. So the Older American Act pays for senior nutrition programs in your county. Either congregate meal sites. In Santa Clara County, we have 40 congregate meal sites, different ethnic food. It's a great option for anybody who is 60 plus. And then we also have the Meals on Wheels programs. Those are also paid for by Older Americans Act. We have the Ombudsman program, which is in if you need help in somebody who's in a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility, and you want somebody kind of like Adult Protective Services, but you have a complaint or something, you can go to the Ombudsman. They also have a senior employment program. They also have some caregiving and falls prevention programs through the Older Americans Act.
And then during most of the pandemic, we had a state program. I think it had some federal funding, though, that was called Great Plates Delivered. Did you get involved in that?
We did not get involved in that one, but we that was really kind of through the city of San Jose and how we were distributing things.
Okay.
And SourceWise, which is our area agency on aging, they were the ones who did kind of lead the way on that. But many people who were working on food, we were all working together and coordinating. And in fact, our senior nutrition program went up 30% on usage during the pandemic, and it really hasn't gone down. So it just really shows a great need for food nutrition for older adults, and maybe the growing number of food insecurity.
Yeah, I think you're right. The pandemic brought some things to light that were a little bit hidden before that. So what are some of the other biggest needs of residents of Santa Clara County?
So I would kind of say that some of the needs would be through looking at the lens of the age-friendly, there's always housing is number one. Being able to live and continue to live in Santa Clara County as an older adult, especially if you are very low income, is a challenge, to say the least. In fact, the number of older adults who are homeless is about 9%, and many of them are a growing number of homeless for the first time. So this is something that we're trying to work on. The governor has a Home Safe project that we had a pilot program with Adult Protective Services to try to do some eviction prevention and to keep people in their homes. So housing is big, transportation is big, even communication and how we communicate. So during the pandemic, we started a digital inclusion work group to really look at this big digital divide, especially the county was great about putting $7 million into the Office of Education at the beginning of the pandemic. Is really important for children, but to get that connection. But also the other piece that is missing are the isolation of older adults. And so we have put a request in and recommendations for $1.5 million to get 2,000 low-income older adults connected with broadband, get a device, and get trained. And for older adults, training is kind of more important. Younger people, sometimes you can just give them the device and they can figure it out. So older adults sometimes need a little bit more. And in fact, 80% of the older adults at our senior nutrition sites are not connected at all, which really interferes with telehealth and many other options during this pandemic.
Yeah, talking about the digital divide, we've seen programs where high school students have been able to interact with older adults in the adult community centers and show them how to use their new electronic devices and get connected. Fabulous to have this kind of intergenerational experience. Can you talk a little about the value there?
So I think anytime we can bring generations together is great. And in our society right now, we're probably the most divided in generations. Most people don't have much interaction with people other than their age group, which is really we have so much to give and learn from each other. So even as the young people can teach the older adults maybe about digital inclusion, older adults have a lot to teach younger people as well. And older adults are the #1 volunteers in our community, and we saw that during the pandemic and their lack of being able to do that when we were all shut down. But they play a really important role, and so does intergenerational programming.
It's great to see that. Yeah, in fact, it reminds me to read something that's on the AARP webpage. It says, age-friendly communities are inclusive and considerate of the perspectives of all residents of all ages and all persuasions. I think that speaks to the working together of all ages and how an infrastructure is important for us at all stages of our life. You know, it's important to have it work for us when we're kids, when we're adults, and when we're older adults. So cross-generational, thank you for recognizing that. So an important part of safety for older adults is avoiding or reducing the risk of falling. I've heard that if a bad fall for an older adult can be the beginning of very serious health consequences and going downhill. Can you talk about that and what can be done to reduce the risk of falling?
Well, you're right. Falls is the #1 reason older adults go into the ER. That's #1. And it's very much something that we're concerned about. The Santa Clara County, we have a task force, falls prevention task force, that includes the 3 trauma units, Stanford, Valley Medical Center, and Regional Hospital, as well as occupational therapists and PTs in the medical field, as well as senior center staff and others, Santa Clara County Fire, which is another one that's there to help you if you do fall many times. So we're looking at how can we do prevention. So there are many evidence-based programs that are offered, and fortunately, one of the needs is there's not enough of them. One very popular one that just came out, evidence-based, that was virtual, was Bingo Size, which is combines your love of bingo with and playing a game with exercising and doing the prevention that you need to keep your balance and core muscles in place. But you can look at your senior centers and other places and Stanford also have great resources for falls prevention classes. The other one is to do your home assessment and look at where the trip hazards in your home. And so AARP has some resources on that. And then also we're looking at the built environment and what the communities can do about broken sidewalks and keeping things, you know, as risk-free as possible.
Right. So broken sidewalks and changes in traffic patterns and so on, very important for safety on the sidewalk or in crosswalks. And we've seen a lot of improvements in recent years, bump outs on corners and so on. Was that the result of the American Disability Act, or?
Right. So what I was thinking, like, our age-friendly movement has a lot to look at how the Americans Disability Act came about, and one option were the cutouts, which we all take for granted, but there was a lot of opposition from cities and engineers about putting them in. The community and the ADA did help us to do that, and now we all benefit, right? So with the people with strollers, people walking their dogs, or even us just older people walking can get that benefit. And so a lot of things that are age-friendly, benches, other things that you see around, are not only good for older people, that everybody benefits.
Yeah, fantastic. So speaking of government programs and legislation, in recent years we've heard of the Governor Newsom Master Plan for Aging for the state of California, and it has some very important plans. Can you tell us about that and how it will benefit Santa Clara County?
Yes, I'm excited because the last Master Plan on Aging that was at the state level was when Governor Gray Davis was governor. And because of his recall, it didn't go very far. So Governor Newsom, as one of his promises, did bring together stakeholders and experts and came up with a master plan for aging. It has 5 bold goals, as they say, and many action items under it. It was launched last January, so we're coming up on the 1st anniversary. And I was really encouraged by the legislation this past year that really did put in a lot of funding and resources that were recommended in the Master Plan for Aging. As well as Governor Newsom has appointed someone, Kim McCoy-Wade, to become the first aging, disability, and Alzheimer's staff person on his in his cabinet as an advisor. So that's a first too. So now it's like people who are making policy have some people right there at the table.
Great. So you've done a lot of work with Santa Clara County and other parts of your career in serving older adults. What is it from a personal standpoint that gives you the greatest joy and satisfaction in that area?
Well, I kind of look at this aging as a social justice issue. So I think in the sense of that, this is the last ism that isn't addressed. And in fact, at every city council meeting, when I would go and we would hear them pass the age-friendly designation, there was always some ageist kind of joke made. It was kind of funny because a lot of the elected officials were 50 plus. So I feel like this is the last ism, an equity issue that we need to address. So what excites me is the connections that we all are making throughout the community with both government and nonprofits and aging activists, as I call them, that really want to promote policies and programs to really help older adults as we all age. We're all going to be helped by them.
Great. Okay, well, you have been a wealth of information. Thank you for sharing all this with us. In the last 30 seconds, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I kind of think it's very important that we look at our upcoming elections. A lot of us are having city council, mayoral elections are coming up. And to really put your voice into making it about some age-friendly issues, not just the education or other things that are housing, which is another big issue. But you don't hear anybody addressing older adults and the issues that they have. And so I just really hope that people get informed, vote, and look for older adult people who are champions of age-friendly movement.
Awesome. Thank you for that pitch. And thank you for being here today very much.
Thank you.
I want to give not only thanks to Diana Miller, but also to the Department of Aging and Adult Services of Santa Clara County, and to you who are viewing this at home. I encourage you to watch for future broadcasts of Age-Friendly Bay Area, where we will be highlighting not only the needs, but also the many programs throughout the greater Bay Area to serve older adults. Again, my name is Scott McMullen with Villages of San Mateo County. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.